The next topic we're going to go over is pen tool. And if you remember, we did it in Photoshop for compositing when we were cutting out people and objects to put in. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to try to use a lot less points this time. We're going to be building more vector-based shapes with the pen tool. So I'm going to grab an image from the internet. I've already downloaded this coffee cup. I'm going to drag it into Illustrator, and you can drag right from the desktop too. And then I'm going to use my black arrow tool to resize this. And if I hold down Shift, it will hold the same proportions and not change it. So I'm going to get my coffee cup where I want. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at layers. Now layers are going to be right in here. There's these two pieces here. If you can't find your layers, you can find it under Window, pull it down, and then layers is right in here. Okay, on layers, I'm going to go to the empty part here on the layer and double click. When I double click, it's going to say, do you want to make this into a template? I'm going to say yes. And then you have the option to dim it 50%. That will work for some of you. Others, you may not be able to see your object. Now, what happens is when I build in my document, and it's not going to let me build on this locked layer, so I have to create a new document. Sorry, a new layer above. New layer right here. Now on the new layer, I can draw and I can use the pen tool. But what's cool about these template things is that if I put this and save this for web right now, and we're going to go to the export save for web legacy like we usually do. Notice that it's just a black square and there is no coffee cup because I've gone ahead and locked that down as a template. So that means that you can't see it in the print file and you can't see it in the internet file. But you can always see it in the work file, so it's a great way of working and keeping things in a document. So once again, what you want to do is, let me go back, is you want to double click on the empty part of the layer right here, and then you want to turn it into a template and allow it to dim. Now what I have is a locked layer. I'm going to add a new layer above that right here. And then we're going to go over here to our pen tool. Once again, when the layer is locked, you need to put a new layer above it right here. We're going to come over here and grab our pen tool from the side here. And we're going to do the same thing that we did in Photoshop. We're going to click, and then we're going to click and then pull in the direction we're going next. Now with these, what we're going to do is we're going to actually use Alt and break the handles this time. So since these are really simple, you want to tell where it's going to go next. And then maybe I find the middle of the ellipse and I make a straight line like this just to create the arc. And then I could come all the way over to this point and click and pull. And then same thing, I hold down Option so I know where I'm going next. It looks like I'm a little off, so I'm going to hold down Command and I'm going to pick up that point. Now the next one, I already know where it's going because this handle's leading it, and I can use Command again and shorten it a little bit. Remember, they can't be too long. Now I'm going to click and stop because it's going to be a right angle. Now over here, maybe I go to the round point and I click and I pull to get that arc. And then I've already got the arc on this side already set because this line is setting it up. So then I could go here and click and stop. There's a little bit of a curve here, so maybe I click and pull. Hit Command Z, I was off. So click right there, pull. Ew, I still don't like that. Let's go right there. Actually, let's go right to the edge. Click and pull, hold down Option Alt to set it up where it's going next. If you don't like where it is, pick it up with the Command tool and let go. Then I'll go here in the middle probably and grab another one and pull in the direction that I'm going to go in. And then the last one I'm going to pull here to get the arc of the end. So I was a little off on this side, but I want to be able to see through this. So I'm going to grab my black arrow tool, grab this, and then I'm going to go up to the fill and turn off the fill so I can see through. Now I can see where I'm off. And to fix this, I hold down Command and click on the point. Now my handle's too long, that's why it's arcing. Boop, there we go. Now here's my other mistake. Handle's too long, arc in, boom. Now I've got the shape of the coffee cup. Once I have the basic shape, I'm going to, the one underneath, I'm going to start building shapes on top of it. So I'm going to use my black arrow over here, grab, and I'm going to move this down. And then I'm going to build these upper ellipse here. So I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'm going to click, find maybe the center somewhere, click straight across for the arc, find my other spot over here, click and pull, and then use Option to break the handle going the other way now. Same thing, I'll come down here, click pull, and then I'll return to the end to connect it, and I'm gonna pull that arc around. And you don't have a front handle because it knows you're ending it. So that would be like the way to get the top. Now let's go over here and do this one. This one's a little bit more detailed, so I'm gonna click in here around, and maybe up and around this way. And then this is pretty straight, so I can just go all the way over here, then over here, click pull. And every time you have to close the shape in order to fill it. Okay, I'm a little off, so what I'm gonna do is use Command and move these points right where I want. Same thing over here, and then I can adjust handles that are too long. Okay, basic shape here. If you don't want some of these points, you can even hover over and you can either add points in, you get a plus sign, see if you hover over. If you hover over, you get a plus sign. If you go over a point, you get a minus sign, and you can actually take one out if you don't want that many points, and I could make this a lot smoother. Okay, so that would be the idea. So once again, if you hover over an empty part of the line, you can add, and if you go over a point and hover with your mouse or Wacom pen, you can subtract. Okay, so we need to find the coffee cup again. You're going to put that back over the spot it needs to go. And then you can drag through these two to see how they're lined up. So now I've got my ellipse in the back part. If you want to now edit these to make them a little bit better, I'm going to use my white arrow, because remember, white arrow can just pick up any point, and then I can see what's going on a little bit better. All right, then for these two, I'm gonna grab, which I have the hole and I have the background piece. So these two I'm gonna grab, and then on the Pathfinder that we were using before, I'm going to do this one, minus front from back, and this will cut out this path from the back path. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut out front from back. Now what you have is you have one major fill. So first I'm gonna grab maybe the ellipse, oops. Grab the ellipse, and we're gonna go ahead with a black arrow so we can fill that, grab it. And I can fill it in a color. Okay, then I'm gonna take the second one, grab it, and then fill that in with a color. And then remember, order is a big deal. Is this in front or is this back? So the blue, if you hit Control and click, or just right click on the mouse, you can arrange it forward and back, right? So is that behind it or in front? Okay, so that's an easy way to use the pen tool and the Pathfinders to start building any sort of shapes you want, or illustrations for that matter. I want to play a little game called the Bezier game, the French word for this arc. So if we go to the Bezier game, and you're going to go to this website here for the next part of classwork, the Bezier.method.ac. And what this does is it's a game that you do live with the pen tool. And you're going to go through and follow their directions and try to click on each of the shapes that they want to make. And you have to use the least amount of points possible to do this. And it's going to show you the first time how you do it. And then you're going to go through, clicking on, and you have to use, once again, the least amount of points as possible, and it gets a lot harder as you go along. So it's this idea of you have to start your first piece, and then you have to set up your handles while you're going. So you'd have to go over their handles here, over their handles here, and then over their handles here. And if you're off, like so, it makes you go back. You have to be very specific about where it sits. Ta-da, and then the heart. Okay, and we'll show you how to do each of those. What I want is when you finish, take a screen grab. So that's Command Shift 3 or Command Shift 4 of the screen. So Command Shift 3 or 4. 4 will give you this, Command Shift 4. And then you can go ahead and take a picture of your score and please upload that to Flickr.